Your blood type is basically ancient software your body refuses to uninstall. A survival update from thousands of years ago that protected humans from disease, wounds, childbirth, parasites, and whatever prehistoric chaos counted as daily life. That old code still shapes your health, your stress levels, and tiny pieces of your psychology. Today we're breaking down every hidden psychological advantage of your blood type. O positive. O positive has one of the clearest psychological advantages of any blood type. Your brain is wired for action. You stay calm in chaos, make decisions quickly, and your internal alarm system doesn't go off unless something is actually wrong. While other people worry themselves into a migraine, your biology casually rolls up its sleeves like, relax, we've fought worse. That mindset is the downstream effect of having one of the most resilient immune systems evolution ever built. This strong, low-maintenance system kept your ancestors alive in environments crawling with malaria, parasites, and whatever microbes were lurking in prehistoric puddles. And that biological sturdiness becomes psychological strength, steadier energy, faster recovery, and a baseline emotional setting that quietly whispers, "I'll deal with it." Because your body doesn't freak out easily, your mind doesn't either. The behavior system is unusually chill in O-positive people. Suspicious food, crowded room, new environment. Your brain just shrugs. Lower disgust sensitivity and higher physical comfort were evolutionary perks. O-positive could afford to take more chances because its immune defenses were built like a brick wall. And when stress hits, O-positive doesn't spiral. Your temperament leans toward action first, think later, because your biology was designed to perform under real-time threat. Socially, O-positive became the backbone of early human groups, the glue that held communities together. High genetic compatibility made O-positive essential in childbirth and injury survival, which subtly shaped a temperament people still pick up on today. Reliable, adaptable, steady, and especially valuable in high-stress situations. Even when you're not trying to lead, people often feel safer when you're around. O-negative. O-negative's psychological advantage shows up before anything else. You notice danger earlier than everyone else. This blood type comes with a built-in threat detector, the kind of intuition that pings the moment the room feels off, the vibe shifts, or the air gets 1 degree colder. This sensitivity comes from a uniquely strict immune system. O-negative lacks A antigens, B antigens, and the Rh factor, which makes your blood universally safe for others, but incredibly picky about what it accepts itself. That scarcity shaped your psychology. You come from a lineage that survived by being selective. Your body had one rule: don't let anything in unless we've triple-checked it. And your mind absorbed that as heightened caution, sharper environmental awareness, and an instinctive preference for stability and control. Because your biology can't accept help from just anyone, your behavior system became more vigilant. Historically, O-negative ancestors avoided chaotic environments, unnecessary injuries, and anything that felt unpredictable. That vigilance still shows up today as a tendency to spot danger early, avoid gross or unsanitary situations, and quietly scan for subtle changes in people's energy or intentions. This wiring also shapes how O-negative handles stress. When things get serious, your brain does not panic. It locks in. Stress turns O-negative into a hyper-focused, analytical survival strategist, the person who stays controlled, aware, and calculated while others flail. But because O-negative evolved for real physical danger, it prefers structure over chaos and long-term planning over surprises. You were never designed for improvisation. You were designed for precision. From a social standpoint, O-negative carries a quiet sense of rarity, because biologically, you are. Only 6 to 7% of people carry this type, and historically that meant your lineage survived through intentional, carefully chosen bonds. That pattern remains. O-negative tends to form deep, selective relationships, avoid superficial connections, and protect the people they choose with almost military loyalty. Your social circle is not wide, it's curated. A positive. A positive is wired for scanning, forecasting, and reading microsignals in your environment. The emotional equivalent of running antivirus software every time you enter a room. Where other blood types rely on strength or spontaneity, A positive survives by anticipation. A positive blood mounts strong inflammatory responses, which was fantastic when your ancestors lived in crowded farming communities where disease spread faster than gossip. But today, That reactive wiring shows up as heightened sensitivity, sharper perception of discomfort, and a cautious internal logic that pulls you away from unnecessary risks before you even consciously consider them. This vigilance spills into your behavior. While O positive strolls into situations assuming they'll be fine, A positive enters already scanning for red flags. You notice small shifts in environments, interpersonal friction, or micro chaos that others miss entirely. This makes you the person who spots the problem before it becomes a problem. Stress hits A positive differently too. Where some blood types explode and then recover quickly, A positive hears every stress signal and processes it deeply. Higher cortisol reactivity means emotions linger, thoughts stretch longer, and your mind stays active even after the situation has passed. This creates a temperament defined by thoughtful decision-making, careful planning, strong emotional recall, and, yes, the occasional mental rehearsal that feels like overthinking but is really your survival software doing its job. You're not spiraling. You're preparing. Interpersonally, A positive thrives in environments where structure and cooperation matter. Historically, your lineage built some of the first stable societies, which required loyalty, predictability, and trustworthy bonds. That shows up today as valuing consistent relationships, choosing partners carefully, and deepening trust slowly but solidly. You're not picky. You're precise. You invest in people who feel safe and reliable. A negative. Your mind runs on a kind of high-resolution intuition, the kind that picks up micro moves in energy or environment without needing a single piece of verbal evidence. Where A positive scans for danger, A negative feels it. Your brain operates like a minimalist tactician, precise, perceptive, and determined not to let anything slip through the cracks. That instinct is rooted in your immune system. A negative behaves like A positive's reactive high-alert system. But with the RH factor missing, the stakes get higher. Your biology can't afford mistakes. That means stronger selectiveness, higher physical sensitivity, and incredibly quick detection of discomfort or illness signals. Your immune system is essentially running at maximum sensitivity, and that constant calibration shapes your psychology. You navigate the world carefully and intentionally. More so, because your cortisol response to stress and chaos can be strong and long-lasting, your emotional processing goes deep. Instead of bouncing off stress, you absorb it, analyze it, and store the lessons. This creates a temperament built on intuitive decision-making, careful planning, detailed emotional memory, and an internal monologue that rarely takes a lunch break. When it comes to human connection, A negative moves with deliberate calm. You listen before you attach. Observe before you invest. You're sensitive to the unspoken friction, the subtle disconnects others brush past, which naturally narrows your circle to people who feel emotionally coherent. You don't open the door quickly, but once someone earns their way in, the bond becomes steady, deep, and quietly protective. B positive. B positive's psychological advantage is very clear and simple. You adapt faster than everyone else. While other blood types freeze, overplan, or charge blindly ahead, B positive pivots effortlessly. Your brain is wired for novelty, flexibility, and improvisation. A mindset shaped by ancestors who survived constant change, migrating across continents, encountering unfamiliar pathogens, foreign foods, and unpredictable environments. You come from people who couldn't rely on routine, so evolution gave you the temperament of someone who looks at chaos and says, "Okay, sure, let's figure this out." This adaptability starts in the immune system. B positive sits between O's rugged immunity and A's sensitive reactivity, giving you a balanced, flexible response rather than an extreme one. Your biology doesn't freak out easily, but it also doesn't sleep on potential threats. It moves, adjusts, recalibrates. That internal flexibility becomes psychological flexibility, a steady energy baseline, openness to new experiences, and a self-trusting instinct. Your behavior reflects this adventurous wiring. Historically, avoiding unfamiliar things meant starving or missing out on resources, so B positive learned to engage, to try the new food, explore the new territory, meet the new group. Today, that shows up as low-discussed sensitivity, comfort with diverse environments, and a social ease that lets you adapt to almost any crowd without losing your individuality. This openness carries into stress response. B positive has a moderate cortisol pattern, which creates a temperament that holds steady under pressure without burning too hot or too fast. You think creatively in crisis, make spontaneous but intelligent decisions, and keep your emotional center while others unravel. But the B-positive system has a quirk. Because you adapt so well for so long, burnout can hit like a sudden power outage. You stay composed until you don't, then your brain drops the everything's fine act and demands a full system reset. In relationships and social spaces, B-positive reflects its nomadic origins. Your lineage connected groups, traded knowledge, blended cultures, and served as bridges between communities. That spirit still lives in psychology. Independence, charismatic individuality, comfort moving through different social circles, and a selective, not needy, approach to long-term bonds. B. Negative. B. Negative's psychological advantage is unmistakable. You think differently, and it works. Your mind runs on a rare blend of intuition, independence, and quiet internal intensity that doesn't need validation to feel certain. Where most people navigate life by following patterns, B negative creates its own. This is the blood type evolution sharpened into a specialist, a rare, adaptive outlier built for unusual environments and unpredictable conditions. Your immune system sets the tone. Like B positive, B negative carries flexible, adaptable immunity, but with the Rh factor missing, everything becomes more selective and precise. Your biology tolerates less, senses more, and recalibrates faster, giving you an unusually sharp awareness of what feels right or wrong in your environment. It creates strong internal boundaries, quick detection of physical or emotional discomfort, and an instinct to adjust your surroundings rather than let them overwhelm you. Your stress pattern is as rare as your blood. B negative tends to process things quietly beneath the surface, staying composed for long stretches and then experiencing sharp internal spikes, not because you're overwhelmed, but because you've been running long, silent diagnostics in the background. This creates a temperament defined by independent emotional regulation, a rich internal narrative, creative approaches to problem solving, and sudden transitions between deep focus and intuitive improvisation. On the social side of things, B negative shows a pattern of selective openness. Curious enough to explore new people, but discerning enough to walk away when the energy feels off. You're attuned to nuance, and when you find someone who fits your wavelength, the bond deepens naturally, almost effortlessly. AB positive. AB positive enters the psychological lineup with a rare advantage. You can switch your mind's operating mode to match the situation better than almost anyone else. You're not one type of thinker, you're a blend. A sensitive when sensitivity is needed, a pragmatist when logic is required, a creative when the moment calls for reinvention. While other blood types lean heavy in one direction, AB positive moves fluidly across the spectrum, giving you a kind of emotional and social versatility that feels effortless from the inside and uncanny from the outside. This flexibility starts in the immune system. A B positive inherited traits from both A and B types, creating a balanced, middle path biology, not hyper-reactive, not overly relaxed, not rigidly cautious. It's a system that responds appropriately rather than automatically. That internal stability becomes mental stability, steady energy, balanced reactions, and a comfort with a wide range of internal states. Where A tends to overreact and O tends to underreact, AB positive hits the just right zone more often than not. Stress response is where your hybrid nature becomes most obvious. A B positive stays remarkably composed in short-term chaos, making calm, thoughtful decisions, accessing creativity under pressure, and keeping emotional clarity when others fragment. But chronic stress can tug you in two directions at once, because your dual wiring tries to solve problems from both the A and B angles. This can produce moments of emotional overload or mental fatigue, not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is trying to run two operating systems at the same time. Socially and romantically, AB positive blends A's deep sensitivity with B's independent streak, creating a style built around selective depth. You connect intensely, but not widely. You understand people intuitively, but you don't let just anyone into your inner world. AB negative. AB negative psychological advantage feels almost supernatural. You sense things before they happen. Your mind operates like an internal seismic detector, quietly picking up emotional deviations, social unease, and atmospheric changes long before they reach the surface. This isn't anxiety. and it's not hypervigilance. It's the rare calibration of a blood type that evolution barely rolled out into the population, yet somehow kept because its perceptiveness turned out to be unbelievably useful. Like AB positive, you're socially flexible, able to navigate many different environments, but with a more introspective, discerning edge. Historically, AB negative individuals survived by reading people strategically, observing before acting and withdrawing when the energy felt wrong. That instinct remains today. You pick up emotional cues instantly, understand group dynamics almost as soon as you enter a room, and pull back the second something feels incoherent or energetically chaotic. Interpersonally, AB negative shows a pattern of selective attunement. You read motives quickly, prioritize emotional coherence, and invest only in relationships that feel stable and reciprocal. Instead of scattering your energy widely, you channel it into bonds that make psychological sense. People who match your pace, respect your boundaries, and bring clarity rather than noise. If this blood type psychology blew your mind even a little, wait until you see the next video.